Hey guys, you're tuning into the Mina B Podcast. It's your girl Mina B, and I am back with yet another fun-filled episode. So where to find me? It's at the Mina B Podcast over on IG. And of course, the links in the bio for all your listening platforms. We're streaming on Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, all where podcasts can be listened to. So y'all could go ahead and click that link in the bio and find me over there. So you guys already know, if you're watching from YouTube, watching from home, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notifications button so that you guys can know when the video drops and all that good stuff. And of course, if you're listening from home, watching from home, screenshot it, send it to me over on IG at the Mina B Podcast. I want to see when you guys are listening, see when you guys are watching. I really appreciate it. So yeah, go ahead and do that for me, guys. So we're back. It's another episode. You guys got me solo dolo today. And y'all, it is so muggy. And so, we've hit that point. It's about to be August, so we just hit that point where the weather is just disgusting. It's not hot, it's not humid, it's just both. And there's, precipitation in the air. Y'all, it's unbearable. And I'm having a rough time because, this is a good wig and all of that. But, baby, I'm trying to get my hair done. And I thought my hair appointment was today. It wasn't, so I had to slap this wig back on and get it together because it was not. And so y'all know this girl got hair in her head. I just really like my wigs, y'all. I love my wigs. I love my protective styling. So you natural girls out there in the world know good and well what it is, because we don't be having time. My hair is beautiful, but I don't have the time, y'all. I don't have the patience. So I'm actually gonna get it treated and get it looking cute, but it ain't gonna last but a couple of days, and then we gonna get some braids or some locks or something fun next week. So yeah, stay tuned for the new boo-boo. But it's just, the weather is just so trash as far as how muggy and nasty it is. So here we are, y'all. Here we are. I just can't. So solo dolo today. And I had a couple of things that was on my mind, and I wanted to talk about it with you guys. Of course, y'all tend to like when I do my episode solo dolo for some reason. I don't know. Y'all like when I do it solo dolo, and I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all listening, tuning in, fucking with the show every week. So, it is what it is. So, y'all, you ever sit back and think to yourself, damn, Mom Dukes, your mom or your mother figure or your grandmother, any mother figure that you had, there were some things that she taught you, put you in line for, to do, to handle. But then there were other things that as you got older, you just realized these niggas really didn't tell us the truth. They really wasn't saying what they needed to say. It wasn't giving what it needed to give, mom. There were certain things that y'all just did not put into perspective for us, and we had to learn on our own. You know what I mean? Everybody knows adulthood is a bitch. It is what it is. So you have to create the life that you want, because you're going to have bills. You're going to die with bills. It just is what it is. And we wanted to be adults so bad. We wanted to graduate college so we could just get out of our parents' house and move out and do what we wanted to do, child. Listen, wanted to be fast, furious, and grown. So it is what it is. We all been there, adulthood, and trying to navigate the things that we've been taught. And it's just some things that my mama just did not teach me. So that's what we're talking about today. And we're going to dive into a little bit of that. So, I have to give a little credit to my mom. We have a wonderful relationship. Shout out to my mom if she ever listens. I don't know. I think she did hear my podcast one day. I think it came up on her YouTube some way, somehow. Don't know. And she she's congratulated me because she was just you look so good. You speak so well. It's just so nice. I was like, oh my gosh, that must have been a good episode, baby. It must have been an episode that wasn't too crazy. So shout out to my mom Dukes for that. But yeah. So I was sitting back and I was just thinking about, some of the experiences, and I think about, so I'm going to be looking at my notes a lot because I just really was drafting this episode out and just drafting my thoughts. And I was just let's talk about this. So thinking about, some things about how our parents function and had to function in the elements of their own experiences and their own upbringing and traumas. And for me, I'm first generation. My parents are immigrants, so I'm first generation American. So that's a difficulty within itself. And sometimes we don't take account how much our parents went through to get to this country, to do the things that they had to do, to build wealth, to bring us up in a home, send us to school, cultural shock, adjusting, being Black in America. Fuck immigrant, put the whole immigrant thing to the left. Being Black in America. So there's a lot of layers, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of things that we could sit down and peel back just with that alone. So, I have to say that my mom, when it came to dating, because would it be my show if we didn't talk about these hoes? So when it came to dating, my mom was a devout Catholic for a very long time, and then when she divorced, she became just kind of pulled back from the Catholicism and went the Christian route, non-denom church or Baptist church, whatever she feels like going to that Sunday. And we were talking about some things. I know we would talk about things, but she always used to say no sex before marriage, but never would impress upon me like, hey, this is what you need to do to have a healthy relationship. This is what you need to do here. This is how you need to work this out. Like, it just never was those type of conversations. Like, we just did not talk about healthy relationships. We never talked about, the bullshit ass niggas. Like, we just didn't talk about those type of things. And she just didn't say a word about those things. And of course, you not knowing, me not knowing as a young woman, young lady, I didn't know anything. So I didn't really ask. And it was almost taboo in my West Indian culture to ask certain questions and to inquire about certain things, because you just kind of knew that your parents wasn't having it. Like, they just wasn't having it about nothing, Caribbean parents. And if y'all agree, screenshot this or just send me a comment on YouTube or in my DMs at the Mina B Podcast. Let me know. Like, y'all know, in a Caribbean household, there's just certain things you couldn't talk about, especially as it pertains to relationships, especially as it pertains to sex. And if you guys have had a different experience, please let me know. But for old school 90s babies like us, I was born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s, and there was just certain things that we just couldn't talk about with our parents. It was what it was. So I just had to learn in my own little way. And also, I was the oldest kid, so I have a little sister. Y'all have seen her. Shout out to Kat, 10 years younger than me. So I'm the oldest, and then we're also the babies of the family. So everyone is super, a lot older than us. A lot of our cousins are a lot older than us, and even the ones that are closer in age to us, they grew up in the islands. They didn't grow up in New York like we did. So it was just like, nigga, I had to bump my head a million times to figure it out. So needless to say, I got a list. I had to learn about these dudes being hoes by my experience, right? Fair enough. I think that we brushed through infidelity in my family life, and kind of lifted up the rug and swept things under the rug, okay? If that makes sense. And I think it's not only Caribbean families that do this, a good amount of Black families just sweep certain taboo topics, especially cheating and that type of stuff. We lift up the rug, we sweep it under there, and it's for safekeeping, and we don't discuss it. And I think I realized that as I got older. I didn't realize it as a child or as a teenager. I had no idea, but I did realize it later on down the line. I really think that, and y'all could agree with me if I'm wrong, whatever, disagree, whatever. For Caribbean families, I think that they kind of press you to, and I'll say this for the women, for the young girls, they press you for marriage. They kind of press you to, push that envelope, and when you're dating, you're going to date to be married. And don't get me wrong, a lot of my older cousins and aunts and stuff like they've only been with one man. My mom was only with my dad. Like, my parents were kids. They've been together since they were children up until they divorced 30 years in. But for a lot of my aunties and older cousins and stuff like that, girl cousins, I realized that they only was with one person, or maybe had two long-term relationships that went into marriage, and that was it. That was all I ever saw. So, there's just this stigma of us girls having to date for marriage. And y'all know how I feel about marriage. It's take it or leave it. I would love to be married. That'd be wonderful. Or in a long-term relationship, because again, I think that we've put so much focus on the marriage and the wedding itself based on social constructs of, and social media bullshit of Black love and all of that. Like, is it really Black love, or are we just doing it for show? So y'all know how I feel about that. Y'all can track back a couple of episodes. But anyway, needless to say that the way that our family dynamics and my family dynamics were and what I was taught, it's not necessarily their fault, because they probably didn't see, relationships the way we saw relationships. They didn't have that many examples. So it comes to a point where, they want you to be in these relationships. They want you to have this, but no one's talking about fundamental issues, things that will occur, why it's so important to have a foundation and build these foundationally rooted relationships that turn into marriage. No one's talking about the happiness of it. No one's talking about the foundation and the building of it, right? You find a man that's successful and y'all work till y'all dead. That's it. Y'all work till y'all retire. Y'all raise y'all children, send them off to school. Make sure you send them to college. That's it. What else is there, right? So we learn these things, and then we got to go back and fix it ourselves and allow ourselves the space to unlearn the generational curses, so to speak. And that's probably why most of us are in therapy now. We'll sip on that. But listen, it's kind of funny to me how we grow up pressed for just the marriage, the shit that, just shit that truly doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. The scheme of it just is so unrealistic as we get into this more technologically advanced age, this more independent woman's age. It's just kind of like, it's like all this fairy tale shit. It's almost like it's not real. You know what I mean? Like they kind of like set you up like it's not real. So I see that we have these basic parental examples that didn't really have it right? They didn't really have it right. They really didn't have it together. And it's kind of like a mind fuck. Like it kind of plays with you, especially like me. I'm in my 30s. I'm not married. My parents, they did their best. You know what I'm saying? Like I got my mommy daddy issues as far as how toxic their relationship had been at times. How immature they were, petty, all of that shit. It was messy. But also what they wanted from me and what they still want from me. And it's just like, bruh, like at the end of the day, I didn't have that example. So how could you, and I think I said this to my parents before in individual ways, not like, like throwing them under the bus while they're sitting in front of me. But we've talked about it in passing as I've gotten older. Like, I did not have a great example and I didn't see greatness in y'all relationship. There was some fundamentals that I could take with me into my relationship as far as how to have a home. But at the end of the day, the fundamentals, the basics, the respect, that's not an example. That's not a good example. And I don't want that. And it's prevented me from being, in a healthy relationship, because when I see things that are triggering, when I see things that are fucked up, when I see disrespect from men, I'm like, oh, hell no. Like, y'all got me fucked up. I can stay by myself. I can do by myself. I don't need a man for that. I want that healthy love. And if I got to go through what they went through, I don't want it. Simple as that. So as I go through my day-to-day and I'm talking to girlfriends and I see things on IG, you already know where I'm going with this. I see some of y'all, and I'm going to talk about the church. So I see some of y'all that are in the church family and y'all are so pressed. Y'all are married and miserable. And that to me is just bothersome because I'm like, there got to be more. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of couples that are in church. I have friends that are in the church that are doing great things as far as being leaders in their community, in their church community and in their respective communities where they live, and also working on things to grow their relationship, to build their relationship, to be great examples in our community. So let's put those to the left, okay? We ain't holding it against them at all. We talking about the ones that really be doing the fucking most, showboating on IG, and don't really have it together. You know what I'm saying? That's a bad example. And I know sometimes that the church really, really wants us to, and I had to pull, and I've said this before, I pulled away from the church a little while ago for my own reasons. But we get those pressures and we see those pressures, and it's just like, again, why are we not teaching happiness? Why are we not teaching to be yoked, to really be yoked? that y'all play in the church. Y'all do. And y'all pressing this marriage thing just so y'all could get to the finish line and get to the sex. Like, let's be clear. So I said it. I don't care who like it or don't. I said it. So my next point, I also see a lot of women accepting mediocrity in the form of your person, just to say you have that person. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes we put up with mediocre shit because we're either building with the dude, we're trying to figure him out, we're trying to get to know him. I ain't talking about in the early stages. I ain't talking about like, oh, y'all had a friendship and y'all trying to track back and get it together because obviously there was some, love there. There was some, admiration there. Y'all trying to see where, let's try to see if we can take it to the next level. Absolutely. I ain't talking about those. I'm talking about the motherfuckers that's been around 2-3 years, dealing with the same dude, same girl, even let's go for men too, same girlfriend. And y'all are just over here bullshitting, dealing with just nonsense just to say y'all have somebody or just to keep up with the friends and the family members who are in relationships or marriages. It's toxic, y'all. That's another thing that we gotta stop. And for the ladies watching, and this is, like I said, directly to the lady listeners and watchers, okay? There isn't a level of desperation enough for me to put up with mediocrity, to put up with disrespect, to put up with gaslighting. When I've dealt with gaslighting, and I've touched base about this in an episode, I had to sit down with myself and really think to myself, like, okay, is this okay behavior? Am I dealing with this person for the right reasons? What are my intentions as well? Because I already see how this motherfucker's treating me in the early stages of talking and getting to know you or barely dating for 3 months. So at the end of the day, do I just want to deal with it just to deal with it? Because we look good together? Because he has it together on paper? Like what? Why? Or are we just so friggin' comfortable with the dude that we're just putting up with anything? And I think that a lot of our mamas, let's call it what it is, a lot of our mamas did that shit. A lot of our aunties did that shit. Your grandmama did that shit. A lot of us just stuck with shit because it was comfortable. No evolution. No growth. Call it for what it is, y'all. We going based on what we seen growing up. It is what it is. And like I said, I've been in a low place before. And I had to realize that this is not what I want for my life. So I had to stop accepting the bullshit. And I had to think about the love for myself, not the love that I wanted everybody to think was happening. Like, nigga, that nigga don't love you. And really and truly, you don't love him. Girl, bye. So anyway, like I said, the level of desperation just to be with somebody or to be married based on the outside influences of social media, the constructs. Cut it out, y'all. Cut it out. And I'm going to keep saying this to you guys over and over again so it's understood. I think it was a little bit different for our moms' eras, our moms and our aunties' era, okay? Like a lot of them, especially in my culture, only had that one guy, only was with that one dude. So they didn't know nothing. They didn't date. They didn't ever exercise their options. They didn't know anything. Their mom said, oh, he comes from a good family. This is y'all need to be together. Y'all need to do this. Okay. So you having your family push you onto this person and it's just comfortable. It makes sense for the family, for the culture. And that's why we're, as the adult kids now, we're looking at it like, that wasn't it, bruh. You know what I mean? Like, if I had to date, and no shade, and it's no shade to my culture. I'm not saying that I can't find a very handsome, loving Dominican man that I would want to marry. But anytime a man tells me he's from Dominica, first of all, we're probably cousins. Second of all, I'm running and screaming in the other direction. I'd probably date any other islander, but not my own. Period. But anyway, not to shit on my Dominican folks, but it just is what it is. Like, I'm good on them. I date a Trini quick fast. I'd probably date a Jamaican quick fast. No, thank you. No, thank you. But yeah, that's all they knew. They knew their culture. They knew their community, and it just made sense, right? That's what our ancestors and our moms and our grannies, that's what they had to deal with. So I think that was the story from my mom and her sisters, like I said. And those and a lot of those relationships, when they did, if they fizzled out, I saw that a lot of my elders and aunties stayed by themselves, whether their husband passed away or they divorced or just, had their kids and they went their separate ways for whatever the reason was, whether, let's be for real, whether it was abuse, whether it was nonsense, infidelity and things of that nature going on, they stay by themselves thereafter. So that's another example of just seeing women in our community doing it alone, thugging it out alone, raising kids on their own. And we also think that that's a norm. And we also think that that's something that we should just be dealing with. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. I ain't fit to be nobody's baby mama. I'm not doing it by myself. I'm not doing it alone. And I ain't co-parenting. So what y'all want to do? I'll wait, because I'm not doing it. I ain't baby mama material. I came too far. And my stomach is still very flat. Okay? Period. So, y'all, I'm not mad at my parents, okay? I've dealt with my traumas. I'm clearly in therapy. And I always say therapy is your best friend. Talk about your issues. Talk about what's going on. See if your insurance provider, covers the therapy. But if I got to pay out of pocket, I'll pay out of pocket because I think it's worth it. So anyway, I just had a lot of unlearning to do. And let me tell y'all something. We as this new generation, we have to do the unlearning. We have to peel back some layers and really look at ourselves, look at what our folks went through. And also, we have to forgive our families. We have to forgive our folks who raised us. Because at the end of the day, y'all, you can't resent them to a certain degree. There's a certain degree of resentment that I used to have for my family. And just the relationship dynamic, because it really, really triggered me. And I had to make peace with that. Because at the end of the day, no matter what happened, those are still my parents. Those are still my folks. So I had to pull back that layer and realize that it wasn't about me. It's not about me. And forgive our parents. Forgive the people in our families who have taken the time to raise us up and to make sure that we were right. Okay? No matter where their fuck ups were, we have to build that bridge. We have to cross it, and we have to deal with those traumas. And a lot of us are not dealing with those traumas. We're not dealing with ourselves, and we want to put all the blame on them. And we cannot do that. We cannot do that. Especially parents, immigrant parents, because again, culturally, they dealt with certain things a certain way and came to this country and had to acclimate themselves to a lifestyle, to just the American dynamic and the bullshit alone. Real talk. So forgive your parents, forgive your folks, dig deep within yourself to find that balance, because baby, you cannot walk this earth and have resentment and negativity and hatred towards your people, especially if y'all are in each other's lives. Cut that. Y'all gotta cut it out and y'all gotta cut it loose. And that's just the bottom line. I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all it's easy to talk to your parents about their traumas, about the traumas that they've inflicted on you. It's not necessarily easy to do that, because there's a level of accountability that our elders do not know how to take. Let's just be crystal clear about that. And that's why I say that talking to your friends, talking to your other family members that you feel comfortable having those conversations with, and also seeking therapy is essential. Period, point blank. So moving forward, I had to, like I said, I had to cherish certain things and realize that forgiveness was the move and the wave. And it made my life better, honestly. Going forward, it just made my life a lot better. So moving on to something that kind of coincides with the fact that we've been taught to, be married and to be in relationships and not worried about what's healthy, what healthy relationships should look like. And shout out to the folks that do have families and parents that had great examples, okay? Shout out to y'all. And if you had a great example, if you had a great story, or you've seen certain dynamics, shoot me an email, askminabe@gmail.com. I'm in no way, shape, or form bashing families that actually have great dynamics and can actually teach us something and teach us an example or teach us how to, a great love story, just bottom line, a great love story. So if you have one of those from one of your elders, even your parents, shoot me an email, askminab@gmail.com. I'd love to hear your story. So again, our parents, our moms, our aunties, our older sisters, they didn't keep their options open. They didn't really know no different. You know what I'm saying? And I can, like I said, I can only speak for my Caribbean culture, and I can only speak for my direct situation and family dynamic, right? So I saw a pastor on IG talking about relationships and experiences and posed the question. And listen, this is not verbatim because I don't necessarily agree with what he's saying. So I was like, I ain't playing y'all a clip. F all of that. But hear it out. He states, maybe we have too many experiences. That's why we have a hard time finding the one, whether it's a relationship or a good marriage. Something to that effect, right? So what I took from that is saying, okay, you have so many experiences. So you're stagnant and can't get into a relationship because you know too much. That's basically what it sounded like to me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Comment below. Shoot me a DM at the Mina B Podcast. And I feel when you truly learn yourself, the best way, okay, to do that, the best way to do that is growing. You know, you got to grow, and you do this in your single life. You do this in your single season, because you're going to meet people and you're going to go through relationships. You're going to go through different experiences that's going to shape and mold you into a better person. It's going to shape and mold you into the person that knows, that don't work for me. Let's not go there. This doesn't work for me. Now, I don't like that. What is wrong with someone exercising their right to date and have their options open, whether it's a long time, a short time, or in between relationships, whatever it is, you've had those experiences that will allow you to figure yourself out and figure out where your place is in a relationship. What's wrong with that? I'm perplexed. So, you mean to tell me that you can't keep your options open? You have to just have that one experience. And this is the thing. Everybody be talking about this equally yoked thing. And everybody in a church constantly is talking about this equally yoked thing. So, I mean, I'm confused. Excuse me. I'm confused. So, I had too many experiences in this dating life and in my relationship life. That's why I'm single. Sir, I'm gonna try to be respectful because he's a pastor. STFU, okay? Listen, you figure out what you want as you grow older and you go through your experiences, period, point blank. Casual dating is a part of the process. And of course, going at it with no intention and just straight vibes, that works for some people. That's ideal for some people. And then if you have intention, you kind of know you want to date, you want to see what's going on with this person, that person. A clear communication on what it is that you're doing is super simple. It's just that simple. Like, I don't understand why this is so hard for everybody. I'm baffled. Yeah, it just is what it is. Like, I don't get, I will never understand that dynamic of, well, you know, I'm dating, but I don't want to communicate that I'm dating and I'm not, or seeing other people or whatever the case may be. Nigga, you're not my boyfriend. So do your thing, thug it out, but just communicate it. Just say it. It's cool. And again, we talked about this before. Men are not necessarily forthcoming about the things that they do. And I am starting to appreciate stories that I hear and things that I'm reading and even listening to other podcasts about more open and effective communications that has been happening. Because at the end of the day, if we learned anything last year, time is of the essence. And even still right now, time is of the essence. We don't got time to be playing with people, bottom line. So that's just that on that. But here's the thing. Like I said, clear communication is super important. But men, and I'm going to say it out loud. I'm going to say it loud and crystal clear. Men can casually date and fuck. And if women casually date, it is frowned upon. It's frowned upon because it's almost as if y'all automatically think that we're all fucking. We all just out here because y'all fucking, because y'all gotta date women. So say if Tommy is dating 5 girls, he's fucking at least 4 out of the 5. And for a less of a hoe, I mean, is he really considered a hoe? Tommy may be dating 5 girls, 3 out of 5. All right, for the lesser of the evils. And it's not frowned upon. He's actually applauded. He's actually championed for doing so. For keeping his options open. For not, just digging himself in a hole, so to speak, with one person. Too fast, too quick. You know what I'm saying? So men get the opportunity to date and to get to know everybody, and women can't do that. So now don't get me wrong. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm not necessarily the best person to talk about keeping my options open, because when I like what I like, I stick to it. And when it's done and over with, if it fizzles out, I move right on. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's hard. It's hard for your girl, but whatever. I'm a work in progress and I ain't even, whatever. But here's a fun fact, okay? And this is a secret. I'm going to tell y'all a little secret, okay? Not all women that are casually dating is just out here screwing everything and everyone that they're dating. Because unlike you men, we don't have to do that. We may want to get to know the person. We may want to go out on dates and just truly enjoy their company. And some women may just want to keep a roster going because they just want to keep their options open. They don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? I don't understand why y'all are so perplexed. It's just because y'all got to do everybody. So automatically we got to do everybody too? Come on now. I think men need to learn women a little bit better than what they're perceiving us to be. Okay? Especially from Black Twitter. Especially from Justin LaBoy. I cannot deal. Okay? And listen, like I said, we not out here just fucking a handful of niggas. Like, we just not. Like, I don't understand that. That's just because y'all can't not be horny horn dogs. And humanistically, that's a humanistic thing for men. It's not necessarily the same for women. Now, don't get me wrong. Another fun fact. If we decided that we wanted to safely be having sex, casual sex with the men that we are each dating safely, why is that any of your business? Why do you men care so much? Mind your business. Mind the business that pays you. It's, again, y'all can do it and we can't. And that's the tea. And that's the tea. And that's what y'all don't want to communicate about. And I think that's something that, again, it's been frowned upon, but more and more women are doing their thug thizzle. They're just like, nah, I'm doing what I need to do because they done seen their moms. They done seen their nanas going through shit. You know how many times that I've heard over the years of families, their granddaddies had a whole other family across town, a whole other unit, a whole other 4 or 5 people, and then his wife and 2 kids here on this side of town. Like, this is the type of stuff that our moms and our grandmothers and our aunties been dealing with forever. Or that 1 or 2 kids outside the marriage. Like, what? Bruh. So this is why it is important for us to date casually and for us to keep our options open and for us not to feel the way that our moms and maybe our aunties felt when they coming into this generation looking like, damn, we wasn't about that life. But I feel like some of them are a little jealous because they never got the opportunities. Like, honestly speaking, this is a reason why my mom kind of pushed for me to live my life a certain way and never frowned upon it. Anything that and I love my mom for this, anything that I've wanted to do, whether it was ballet, whether it was tap, whether it was journalism class, extra journalism classes because I wanted to write, when I was in elementary school, I had the busiest schedule as a kid. I was in 2 choirs, I did dance, and I did theater. So I was a busy kid, okay? I was a busy kid. Anything, any sport that I wanted to try, anything I wanted to try, my mom let me do. She wanted me to have opportunities that she did not have. So in my dating life, she doesn't really look at me funny at all. But she just says, she's like, you're a little rough. I'm like, I'm a little rough. And it's because I got my traumas. It is what it is. But other than that, she's just like, live your life. She said, you don't have to be married to be happy. You don't have to have, a husband. You don't even have to have kids. Travel the world, live your life. And I think that's something that she wasn't able to do. That's why she pushes us to do those things and to have careers, even if it's on the entrepreneur route, even if it's podcasting. And super supportive. Shout out to my mom. So again, I just think that a lot of us have these traumas and have this shit from when we were raised, and we're frowning upon the most fundamental and basic things when we didn't even have a good example. Live your fucking life. Live your life. Date who you want to date. Fuck who you want to fuck. Do what you got to do to find your person. I'm so sorry to burst this bubble, but there's no wrong or right way to date. You just gotta fucking do it and communicate. Communicate effectively. Stop being disrespectful. Stop gaslighting women. Okay? And also, ladies, be intentional. If you know that you see this guy for more than just, a casual thing, hey, say it. Shoot your shot, because what's the worst thing that he could say? No, he's not interested? Good. You just saved yourself time, sis. Move on. Period. So, listen, I think things get really muddy and really messy when there's gray area, okay? It's very simple, black and white. And a lot of us are not communicating. A lot of us don't want to talk about the things that we need to talk about. And it's because we're horrible communicators because of how we've seen our families communicate, or the lack of communication and open and honest transparency all around. We're definitely replicas of our families, of our parents, or who raised us and who we got to see, in front of us as examples. Bottom line. So all I got to say is, to wrap this episode up, give yourself grace. Give yourself time. Keep your options open. Date however the fuck you want to date. Who cares? Live your life. And forgive your folks. Forgive your folks for not being an example, or, leading you astray. Because like I said, there's a lot of things that we learn as we get older, and we realize that our families did not really hit it on the head with this communication, or really didn't have the answers to this, and this was just their way. So they said, hey, this is how you have to do this. But you realize that, no, this is wrong. This is not how I have to do this. This is not how I have to live my life. I don't have to be miserable. I don't have to work a 9 to 5 just to get a pension. I don't have to go this route. I can have a business for myself that I built from the ground up. I can freelance. From business to love, to how you raise your kids, to how you live your family dynamics, whether it's marriage, two-parent homes, co-parenting, whatever it is. Forgive your folks for not knowing the dynamics the way that you saw fit for your future as you grew into your adulthood, okay? Forgive them. They didn't know no better. So with that being said, y'all, chime in, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM over at the Mina B Podcast page on IG. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe over on YouTube and all that good stuff, y'all. I am signing out. Be back next week with some more juicy topics and fun conversations and thought-provoking things that I want y'all to, talk about with your people. If you're listening at work, whatever it is, be sure to chime in, be sure to comment, and let me know what you think. I highly appreciate you guys for fucking with the show and tuning in every week. So yeah, I'll be back, and have a wonderful week, guys. Bye.